Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a fabulous week so far. It is Friday morning now, and we actually have a lot to cover, as is pretty usual lately. So let's just jump in with both feet and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with King Charles, who was with Queen Camilla to attend a reception and dinner in honor of their coronation at the Mansion House in London. Now, it was raining when they showed up, and there was a gentleman standing there by the door who presented them with something called the Pearl Sword. Now, this is thought to have been given to the city of London by Queen Elizabeth in 1571. So it's given to the king, who then turns around and returns it, confirming the Lord Mayor's authority in the square mile whenever King Charles is not present. I love Queen Camilla's outfit. It is a rewear, I believe. So of course they went around the room meeting people. And then eventually they went in to sit down for dinner, and the king gave a speech, and this is really what this is about, because in his speech he said, and I'm quoting, "The instinct to cooperate wherever and whenever possible is deep within us, even in the most factious times when disagreements are polished, paraded, and asserted. And this is in our land a kind of muscle memory that doesn't have to be like this. The temptation to turn ourselves into a shouty, recriminating society must be resisted, or at least heavily mitigated whenever possible." Essentially what he's saying is, don't become a shouty society and rise above all the rancor that you see on social media. I think that's a wonderful sentiment. Well said. FYI, he praised the tolerance of Britons. Love it. Now, when King Charles and Queen Camilla showed up for this reception at the Mansion House, everybody was looking at the tiara that Camilla was wearing. FYI, I knew I'd seen that dress before. She wore it in Berlin. Anyway, she was wearing, from the late Queen's jewelry collection, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara and the South African diamond necklace and bracelet. It originally belonged to Queen Mary, which is Charles' great-grandmother. Here she is wearing it in 1912. It was given to her as a wedding gift in 1893. By the way, if you can see those pearls that are on there that were removed, they are now part of the new Lover's Knot tiara. Now, Queen Mary gave the tiara to Princess Elizabeth as a wedding present in 1947. And I believe this is one of her favorite tiaras because she wore it before and after she hit the throne. So here she wore it in 1951 on her royal tour of Canada. Here she's wearing it when she went to visit Sierra Leone in November 1961. Here is where she wore it when she was at a banquet in Singapore in 1989. And here she is wearing it at the National Theatre in Prague when she went to the Czech Republic in March of 1996. FYI, this crown was called the Granny's Tiara by Elizabeth. And here she is wearing it at Bermuda in 2009. It was one of her favorite ones. I'm glad to see Camilla wearing it. Moving on. All right, let's move on and talk about Mike Tyndall. Now, we know he just had a birthday. Now, at one point, he was on a show called I'm a Celebrity, and while he was there, he said that at Zara's 30th birthday party, or he confessed at the birthday party, he had flares on, which is a full outfit, but it was very tight. He said so he was dancing with his mother-in-law, and he did what he called a slut drop, and he ripped open his trousers, and he happened to be wearing the boxers that said on the front, "Nibble my nuts." I could just totally see this. And Anne, he said, just basically looked at him and said, "I'd rather not." He walked off. Anyway, apparently he and Anne get along very well. I can totally see that. You know, I love Anne. All right, moving on. All right, this next story kind of blew my mind. Apparently, a new British king was discovered because somebody found a coin in a Hampshire field, and it got more than 20,000 pounds at auction. The coin dates from around 50 BC and is smaller, they said, than a human fingernail, stamped with a name, which is a previously unrecorded Iron Age ruler. I can't pronounce it, but I'll spell it. Esunertos. if you can believe that one. They said it's one of the most outstanding discoveries of recent decades. I can't imagine. This is just shocking. The coin has the name and dates at the very beginning of when written language appeared in the British Isles. I mean, that's just unbelievable. It was struck sometime between 50 and 30 BC, right after Julius Caesar's first Roman raid of Britain in 55 BC. Wow. Moving on. All right, let's move on to Harry and Meghan. Now, everybody's talking about the fact that Harry is house shopping in the UK because he is determined to split his time between the UK and the United States. I don't understand that, because how many times have we heard that going into the UK causes him mental anguish and he doesn't really like Windsor? We've all heard this so many times. After he published The Spare, his group friend, they're saying, slimmed down even further. So his friends like Tom Inskep, who was one of Harry's oldest friends, and they went to Eton together. And, Harry and Meghan went to his wedding. And then you have Guy Pelly, known as the court jester and the party animal, and dubbed the third brother by some. You have Charlie Van Strazenby. The truth of the matter is, his friends have absolutely distanced themselves from him. And we all know that that's supposed, Meghan doesn't like him. So if Meghan didn't like him, Harry got rid of him. But I think he thinks maybe if he buys a house there, he might get some of his friends back. But I don't see that happening either. Now, at the same time, we're getting these kinds of articles. Having spent time in the city, New York, and having been there for World Mental Health Day, they're saying that Harry is totally enamored with the city. He really wants to move there, but Meghan has quote-unquote reservations. Apparently, Prince Harry feels better in New York City and he wants to be there permanently. Plus, it would bring him closer to London. And the truth of the matter is, and this is part of what they're saying, is that he desperately misses London. And so being in the city helps. Plus, he'd be closer to be able to go home for weekends back to the UK if he wanted to. So they're coming, it doesn't matter where they move. She doesn't want to go to New York. She's not going to go to New York. And now she's saying that even if he buys a house in the UK, she's not going back to the UK. Absolutely not. They're saying even in the short term, she's not willing to go back to the UK. And they're saying now that they don't see any substance to the rumor that he's going to split his time between the United States and the UK because he still has serious security concerns. And of course, he still has all of these cases pending. At the same time, they're saying don't expect to see the kids visiting there anytime soon either. Well, of course not. Meghan's not going to let those children out of the United States. Like, are you kidding? I mean, here's what I think. I think Harry sees the pictures of all the cousins together, and I think Harry wants to introduce the kids to their cousins. He wants them to have some connection to the UK, because let's be obvious, if these kids ever grow up and suddenly want to become part of the firm, it's not going to happen. They have no connection to any of the royals that will be their age. Now, they're saying that Harry wants to reconcile with his family. I do think at some point he's turned around and realized what he's lost. I do think he sees what he's lost. Unfortunately, as long as he's standing there going, you're going to apologize to my wife, there's never going to be any reconciliation. Quite frankly, I think the royal family's doing fine without him. Moving on. All right, here we go, you guys. You know exactly where this is going. Meghan's seriously not taking care of herself, and she has a drastic weight loss, and she looks very scary, skinny, and oh my goodness, something terrible is going on. She's cracking under the pressure. Sound familiar? And people are saying that the extreme weight loss could be a sign that she's relapsing into the depression that plagued her after her marriage, when she revealed that the public bullying following her wedding and while pregnant, that she wanted to harm herself. They're going, she has so much on her plate, her failed business ventures, she's raising her 2 children, she's struggling to balance her time, she's just so stressed out. Okay, you know what I see? I see a very pampered woman who has nannies, a cook, a driver, who's got, they're saying, about $60 million in the bank. So I don't care to hear anything about her struggling. If she can't be happy with that, then I agree. I mean, my goodness, aren't you thankful for anything? But I agree with what this Twitter user said. We're going to start having a Diana bulimia story. Uh-huh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to do one name and shame today. What you see are the comments that this person wrote that works for the Art Institute in Chicago. I guess they identify as a female, what they were born biologically a male. Well, we've seen what's been happening to people who have spoken out, haven't we? They've been fired, they can't get other jobs, they're in trouble. So this person, I guess, didn't expect to receive the backlash that they did. So here's the apology that was put up. I got to be honest, I don't believe a word of it. I think they were threatening to be terminated. And if she's like, I don't believe these words, I didn't mean them. If you didn't mean them, you wouldn't have said them. Moving on. All right, moving back now to Harry and Meghan. They're putting out these PR puff pieces about how the two of them are so happy and loving life with their 2 children and that they're just the best parents. They say Meghan is the best mom and Harry is always on the floor playing with the kids. They're such a team. Really? If they're such a team and everything is so wonderful and they're such wonderful parents, then why are they also floating the whole she's got bulimia like Diana thought process? So with all of this talk, what it comes down to now is they've tried to attach their name to Julia Roberts. They've tried to attach their name to Tyler Perry. Now they're going to attach their name to the Kardashians because now Harry and Meghan have signaled that they're ready to completely give up their royal life and embrace their life. Now, supposedly, the article is saying that the Kardashians are courting Harry and Meghan. They want them to make a cameo on their reality hit series. I don't believe that for one frickin' second. No way, Jose. If anything, Harry and Meghan are probably begging to be on their show. You know, I have to go back to that whole Meghan is the best mom thing because I agree with this Twitter user. She probably is, except when they're in the UK, Germany, Portugal, New York, Caribbean, Beyonce concert, Beverly Hills Hotel, Kevin Costner parties, polos, parking lots. Exactly. And then this started showing up. Her children are now on cartons as missing. Yep. All right, let's move on to the last story of the day. They're saying that Harry and Meghan were embarrassed about the mistakes that the palace made when announcing Archie's birth. Let's just jump back a little bit. First of all, it was announced by, I think it was Twitter or something. It was a manual announcement. But by the time that they'd had the baby and Meghan, by the time they announced she was in labor, she'd already had the baby. Supposedly it was back at Frogmore. But we know that remember this from 2019? There's a few other interesting things. First of all, her story of how she gave birth, or the story that Harry gave, is a lie. She didn't get an epidural and then get into the water and then be discharged 2 hours later, unable to walk. Okay, that's the first thing. Number 2, they got to the hospital with nobody seeing them. I don't believe it. Number 3, Meghan said she gave birth at Portland and couldn't do the walk out front because it would block the emergency room. There is no emergency room. And Fergie gave birth there and was able to stand out front with her baby. Number 4, the birth certificate came out. It was unsigned. I mean, there's all kinds of issues. But yet, of course, Harry and Meghan want to blame any of the issues that occurred on the palace. They were embarrassed at the errors that were made by the palace. And let's not forget this little tweet. It was put out by Kensington Palace that they had used a surrogate. And if you notice also at the bottom of the tweet, it was put out by Frogmore Cottage and then it was deleted. And of course, we all know about her disappearing baby bump. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Put those comments down and make them good. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell. If you've already subscribed, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. And if you've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.